Good morning.
Good morning.
So go to chapter 31, aggregate supply. So when we talk about aggregate supply, we're talking about supply. We know supply already. The production that firms are willing to produce, or the supply firms are willing to give at a given price and time. That's supply. But when it comes to aggregate supply, we're talking about the sum of all supply within the economy. So here I go. Aggregate supply is the total number of goods and services producers make and are willing to sell at a given price and time. That phone should be on silent right now. Okay. So we said aggregate supply is the total number of goods and services producers make and are willing to sell at a given price and time. That is aggregate supply. That means the total within the economy in terms of goods and services. We call it aggregate supply. Then we have the aggregate supply curve, which is the sum of all industrial supply curve in the economy. So aggregate supply curve represents the total supply curve in that industry. So that's about that. Then we have the short-run aggregate supply. Why do we call it short-run? We call it short-run because all factors at that time remains constant. In the short run here, all factors remain constant. It's only in the long run that we can change factors. So all factors input like wage rates and prices are constant. We cannot change them in the short run. That's why we call it the short run. In the long run, we can adjust things. We can adjust land, labor, capital, enterprise. But in the short run, we cannot. That's why in the short run, it is always fixed. So look at what I wrote here. Short run. It is defined as the period when money wage rates and the price of all factors inputs are fixed. All factors inputs are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. They are fixed in the short run. Assuming firms wish to increase output in the short run, they are unlikely to take on extra workers, as taking on an extra worker will be an expensive process. Before I go down, look at what we said there. We said in the short run, all factors are fixed, meaning we cannot adjust our output. We cannot adjust our factor input, even if we want to increase our output. Get the point here. It is in the short run, all factors are fixed. While they are fixed, it is difficult for us to adjust it, and we need to increase our output. So increasing our output, increasing output means either you increase your equipment or you employ extra worker. Yes or no?
Yes.
But this is not possible in the short run because it's an expensive process. Why is it an expensive process? It is an expensive process because all factors are fixed. It is not something that we can change. Wage rate is fixed. So how do you want to employ more workers? There's not even workers available. So it is difficult for us at this point in time to adjust labor. So what can we do? And the demand in the economy is increasing. While the demand in the economy is increasing, we have to respond by increasing our output. So to increase our output at this point, we can only make our workers work extra. Get the point? In the short run, all factors are fixed. We need to increase our output, but we cannot increase our output by increasing the number of workers. So the only thing we could do is to make our workers to do extra, bringing about marginal cost or marginal output, which is extra units. Do you get the point I'm making here? So at that point, that is not the only issue. The other issue is that even in the short run, it is difficult for firms to sack workers. Can you just drop that right there? It is difficult for firms to sack their workers in the short run. Why is it difficult for firms to sack their workers? The pay rate is high. There's industrial relations. So your workers, they know themselves. They've been working together. You just want to take some out of it. Your production process will be destroyed. It will be interrupted. So that is the problem about the short run. Are we getting what short run is about here?
Yes.
What I'm saying is this. You cannot increase the number of your workers in the short run. You cannot even reduce the number of workers in the short run. When you do, it becomes expensive for you to do. So you wouldn't even want to try that. So what you can do as a firm to increase your output in the short run is to provide incentive for your workers so that they can increase their output money. Do you get it? You have to provide incentive for your workers so that they can increase their output. Incentive like overtime payments. So look at what I wrote here. Sacking them if they are no longer needed is likely to be even more costly. Employing is expensive. sacking them is even more costly because it is in the short run. This is due to why? This is due to money wage rate, which is constant, and industrial relationship within the company. The workers, they know themselves. So taking one away out of the production might be costly. So you wouldn't want to do that. Therefore, firms might be able to respond to increasing demand within the economy by working their existing labor force more intensively, for instance, through overtime. So you make your workers do more with overtime instead of employing extra worker. Do we get the point I made here about increasing output?
Yes, you must, but when do firms use short term?
Well, short run means
all time. They work short term all time.
No, short run means the situation we have that we cannot change is the short run. It could be now, it could be tomorrow, it could be after tomorrow. But in as much as is a situation, in as much as at this time we cannot readjust our factor input, it's in the short run. Short run is not a specific time. It is a time at which it's difficult for firms to adjust. Do you get what short run is now? It's not going to happen right now. It could happen in the future. But in as much as it's difficult for you to adjust your factor input, it is in the short run. Clear?
Yes.
Great. So, yeah, while basic pay rates, what is the consequence of this situation where you cannot increase the number of workers and you cannot increase equipment, but you have to give incentive to your workers? Stop writing, please. The next time I'm just going to kick you out. When you have to just increase incentive for your workers, what will be the consequence? While basic pay rate remains constant, earnings will rise, and this will tend to put up both the average cost and marginal cost per unit of output. So it will increase the average and marginal cost. Why? Because we are paying extra to our workers based on the fact that they are doing extra over time. We can't employ more workers. We need to respond to increasing demand in the economy by giving incentive to workers through overtime payment. So giving overtime payment would not change the wage rate. Rather, it will change the earnings of workers. The wage rate is constant. We cannot change it. But overtime is not part of the constant rate. Overtime is what you get because you did extra. So at that point in time, the cost for firms would also rise. Yes or no?
Yes.
Great. So in the short run, an increase in output is likely to increase cost of production, which in turn increases price, but at a smaller rate. Therefore, the short run aggregate supply curve is price elastic. In the short run, the aggregate supply curve is price elastic. Why? Because no matter how we increase our output, the price cannot be increased for a long period, cannot be increased on a larger scale. We cannot increase it so high because it's in the short run. Wage rate is constant. So if you are increasing price, who's going to buy? Workers cannot get more because the wage rate is constant. Sorry, the laptop off. So close the laptop right now. Close the laptop right now. Do you get the point I'm making here? Price will increase, but we cannot increase price at a higher rate. Why? Because everything within that period of time is constant. So we get to know through the graph now. So look at this graph. Output in the economy has increased from Y1 to Y2 at a very long rate. The output has increased. But what happens to the price? The price has increased from P1 to P2, but shallow. So it means it is price elastic. We cannot easily increase price as long as we increase our output, as much as we increase our output, because this is in the short run. Firms cannot increase price more than this point, because nobody is going to buy. Workers cannot ask for more wage rate, because it is constant. Do we get it? So an increase in the short run, an increase in the output from Y1 to Y2 will bring about a shallow increase in the price of goods from P1 to P2. It is price elastic. Do we get shallow here? Yes. So look how they said a change in real output, for example, from Y1 to Y2. The output has increased from Y1 to Y2. We lead to a movement along the supply curve. Yes, it's a movement. But what happens? The movement it's not much. It's just short. It's shallow. Why? Because at this period of time, wage cannot be changed. So if you are increasing your price, you can only increase it based on the marginal, not based on the market situation, because the market situation is constant. Workers cannot get more pay. Output can increase, yes, but workers cannot get more pay. So they won't be able to consume your product. They won't be able to buy your product if you are increasing the price so high based on the level of output. Do we understand short-run aggregate supply here?
Yes.
In the short run, all factors, the wage rate, the price are constant. We cannot adjust. The only thing we could do is to make our workers to do more by giving them incentives like overtime payments. But this is an increasing cost for firms. So as a result of that, as output increases, firms will try to increase their price, but at a small rate. That is all about short run. And to bring about movement along the aggregate supply curve. Any question about short run?
No.
Are we sure we get it?
Yes.
All right.